Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns 2, bringing you another match of the Link to the Past Randomizer Crossworld Key Sanity Tournament 2022. It is Furious Magic vs Illus today. Tracking are going to be Tofel and Daruk, and on commentary for you are going to be Zeph and Star. I'll leave it to you guys.
Hi everyone, how are you doing, Zeph?
I am enjoying a peaceful and rainy Sunday. I get to watch Illus skip a ton of progression, and I get to appreciate Furious Magic, who I've never actually had the chance to watch before, just analyze. How are you doing today? How are you feeling?
Doing alright. It's way too hot outside, but I've got the AC on, so I'm nice and cool. It's way too hot in the northeastern US this week. I am not. I am very glad I'm working remotely, but in all honesty, I'm excited for some Crosskeys here. For those who aren't familiar, Crossroad Key Sanity is made in the Link to the Past randomizer, where we have crossroad entrance randomizers, so all the entrances are shuffled amongst each other, and you can get connectors such as Paradox Cave, where the entrance is to Hyrule Castle, shuffled between the link between the light and dark worlds, so you don't necessarily need portals to get between the two. And Key Sanity means that all the maps come to small keys and big keys will be shuffled anywhere.
It's taking the world of Hyrule topsy-turvy, forget all geometry, every map you've ever seen, and it's just a lot of fun, hopefully.
Yeah, one of the longer regularly voiced modes in the ALttPR. This one usually runs between 2 to 3 hours, depending on, the seeing the runners and just how bad random decides to be, because it loves to troll. So how about the resident bot roller has been particularly mean as of late as well.
But see, Sahabot's getting this out of the way, right? We get the hard, crazy, convoluted seeds now, which means for the runners, unfortunately, toward the end, we'll just get lots and lots of Crosskeys jet seeds, and they won't know what hit them, so...
Hopefully. We will be starting here shortly. One of our trackers top housing and chat this Sahabot is coming for you next, Zaf.
I have my match on Tuesday, it'll be fine. It looks like our runners are starting. If I'm not mistaken, I think Furious Magic also starts Sank as well.
Which so is, as Illus finds a cave in Link's house. Alright, that is the lumberjack drop down. Back of escape's gonna be fun. Potentially, depending on where the Hyrule Castle entrances are. By the way, give our runners here a follow, Furious Magic and Illus, to my co-com Zaf, and to our trackers, white back the same command twice, Top Island or Rook. If the bot will work. We're lagging today.
Okay, Potion Shop North, that'll be some interesting turn-in, but that'll be fine.
That is a really out-of-the-way spot for that Potion Shop. Potion Shop itself is a connector. Lost Woods freestanding is nothing of particular interest. I mean, it's true that at least it's the top Lost Woods is comparatively accessible from the Sank. Lumberjack drop down has a pair of flippers here in the Lost Woods. Useless fairy entrance for Illus is Agino. Well, is it a Lost Woods hideout?
Yeah, it's a Lost Woods, yeah.
That's what it was. North of Cack House here for Furious Magic, as we find our first sword, is a shop.
This will be kind of nice for the runners. They'll have some items really quickly. Flippers, which will be nice that Illus gets this Houlihan out the way now. Unfortunate for Furious Magic, though.
Not going to be able to do that, so quite seriously.
Okay, so that's just the fairy drop down at Sank then, so... means that we can have a Cat Ganon, or it could potentially be Vanilla, which...
Sorry, what was it, Sank? Because I just goofed space.
That was just the useless fairy drop down.
Yes, Furious Magic did actually, as chat points out, skip the flippers on the ledge. Pretty close to start, so I can pick it up pretty quickly. Wants to do a Houlihan first, because money is important in Crosskeys. You want to get bombs and supplies early. A bottle vendor as well, because your usual... Because oftentimes in regular rando, you might be able to find a chest with money in it. No such guarantees in Crosskeys. This potion shop connector takes us out to Dark World Bonk Rocks by Bomb Shop.
A semi-convenient connector down the road, but for now it's kind of messy just because not Fierce Magic wants to do that Houlihan. Ooh, okay, I got tower at Bomb Shop.
Okay, that's good to know. Alright, this house here is Fake Ice Rod Cave. Hyrule Castle main entrance is Hype Cave. I come back to that with bombs, because they don't have any.
Good old Johnny Two Bombs sitting in Hyrule Castle main, so Illus will have to come back for this. A little bit unfortunate, but...
Yeah, Vanilla Uncle and his Vanilla location of a hair big as well, a good catch, because I did miss that drop.
I do not envy Furious Magic having to do this sort of walk down to Swamp entrance, especially this bit right here.
Oh yeah, having to dodge all the enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And this junk, because of course it is. I do appreciate his Lapras spray there from the Pokemon series, wearing a cute little bunny hat. Anyone recognize what Illus's sprite is? I've seen it before, I just never remember what it actually is.
It is, I believe, a Toho Fairy Cirno. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I've seen it enough to know. Cirno, okay.
Cirno, okay, according to chat, thank you. So if I'm going to now go do the Potion Shop area, and Illus doing the Lost Woods area, basically the two runners just swapping places.
Yeah, unfortunately, a little bit I would say of like just unfortunate for Furious Magic having to do this sort of loop back, especially with that connector, but really not a considerable amount of time, just all things considered. Retracing steps, Illus is also going to have to find bombs soon, which I think that we did find a bomb shop here at this fortune teller, so...
Yeah, it was a shop. Should be able to get bombs from there. Because you don't want to go into CAC without bombs in well, any mode, but especially this one.
Illus, go back in, you goof.
Okay, there it is. You want bombs, dude. Don't leave those behind.
I love watching Illus. Illus has a fantastic habit of doing his best to like skip in so many ways. If you've watched him before, he has a delightful way of like trying to skip the lumberjack drop down and okay, even more shops in CAC. And it's just funny to see him even do that at entrances.
Here's Hype K for FM, still no bomb, so limited stuff. Ooh, hookshot in CAC. That is a very good find early. Good find overall, really. And this entrance is more nothing. Front of the bar moved just a couple houses over, it looks like.
Just rearranging CAC a bit, it's fine.
Yeah. And that
Powder,
is magic bat at the well. There's a bit hero big for Furious Magic. And K45 is also junk. Super CAC not paying out much as we get a, what is that, negative 80% return off the bottle vendor?
I believe Illus should have checked with an accountant before going in on that, but it's fine.
C-shaped house is in the light world today, otherwise that feels very familiar as the pod. Like, I think it's the exact same house, but just in the light world.
You are correct.
Very funny game, very funny. I was like, that looks familiar, and there is. Here's the well at Magic Bat. We'll need to come back to that later.
So I do believe that makes Ganon vanilla.
I think so, as we find the front of Thieves Town in the Smith's house.
See, just CAC and Vu are just getting swapped around, so everything's fine. It's just mostly in the same spots.
Yep, and yes, we now have a Lapras that can swim, because sprite parity, because abilities remain the same across all sprites, even if in the lore it makes no sense why Lapras can't swim until you get flippers.
Finally getting the Surf, HM, everything's fine.
Yeah. And apparently Churro can fly in the source. Not here though. That would the LTTP is also just kind of 2D, so I'm not sure how that would even work. But well, Thieves Town might be a little easy if you just fly up on to the next level, perhaps. And there's Blue Mail in the front of Thieves. Good to find. Gonna make this Death Lord harder though. Not by too much, at least, since there are plenty of enemies to do it off of. Yeah, kinda good. The village of outcasts just seem to have swapped around things a bit. Thieves Town did not move very far. The C-shaped house just decided to switch worlds. The tavern's right next door to its original location. Really, game? Regular old Bonkrox, that's a heart piece for us.
Yeah, getting our one item caves out the way early is they've all relocated to CAC for the time being.
Paradox.
Ooh.
Here in the chicken hut. Yeah, the swamp is well not a terrible find in the back of the bar. Hookshot Cave in CAC as well. More connectors.
Yeah, nice that we have this hookshot as well. It's always not fun to find that without the hookshot. Just kind of stare at those chests longingly.
Yep. That's completely dead for Furious Magic. Heck, not the... It always has a lot of entrances, because it's CAC and Crosskeys, but they're not being the most valuable at the moment, though Paradox and Hookshot Cave have 11 checks between them, so they will be checking those out sooner rather than later, considering they both have a hookshot and bombs at this point. Just want to clear out the rest of the area, I assume, because those are also both connectors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the unfortunate part with this paradox is that it is the lower one, so they need the mirror to sequence break from that end. But the hookshot will be nice. Hookshot cave, rather.
Alright, Illus is going south as Furious Magic is going to go do these chests. Finding 3 bombs. Illus finding more uselessness. That's a map to Eastern. There's a Moon Pearl. And that's the desert left. And the Heart Container. Not the worst, not the best Hookshot Cave. Merle's really important to find though. Oh, back a desert, okay, and Hyrule Castle, Maine at the library. Thankfully, Fierce Magic didn't get one way, that would have been kind of a pain. But that is good info for later. Can't actually do anything with that connector until you get a glove anyway. You can't get out of there. It's a bit of an issue with that particular connector. So here's that French, but what do you even call that when locations just very literally swap the worlds?
I have no idea what I would call that. Big fan of it though, honestly. Just a little bit of humor in Sahabot.
And the uncle is vanilla too. Crosskeys often seems to give you at least one vanilla entrance, though it's hard to tell with, the shops and fairies and other useless entrances you don't normally check anyway. But it's always funny when you get more major entrances that happen to be full vanilla, or just ever so slightly moved over the way that C-shaped house is.
I'll be curious to see where Illus, which connector of Desert or Hyrule Castle Illus will pick next if he doesn't die in this hookshot cave.
Yeah. Because he is really not having a good time here right now. There we go. Furious Magic getting what is not much out of the Friend of Thieves here, other than Blue Mail. Don't forget we also want to see the checks in Paradox Cave. As that's a definite for Furious Magic. Welcome in, Siberian. Illus just fell 3 times in Hookshot Cave, is what happened. Well, we've got a shiny Lapras now for Furious Magic. Pretty typical of Pokemon sprites to either evolutions, which Lapras does not evolve, or to use a shiny sprite and then another color besides that. $300 in the Desert Torch, so no need to worry about that for later. And we'll do the map chest, and that's about it for checks in here until we get keys. Yeah. Just the compass to Terra. Early Pearl and Flippers. Pearl is in Hookshot Cave and CAC. Flippers are in Lost Woods. Zero Desert Main takes Illus.
Ooh.
That's good.
Illus, please.
Bottom of East Death Mountain. That's of Light East Death Mountain. That's good.
But with that hook shot, that'll be just basically a whole bunch of Death Mountain entrances as well, so he's happy to see that.
Yep, Hera is also still on the mountain, just a little bit elsewhere.
I have also missed what was on Race Game twice now, and I meant to tell myself to check this.
I have also entirely spaced it as they find a Myers Fallen Hera.
Red Rupee, thank you, Toffel. I was like, I'm gonna watch it when Furious Magic goes over there. No.
I honestly forgot to look for that. And our piece here is it for logical checks here in Hera. Illus is going to set up a Hera pot, as we're going to see the Friend of Escape for Furious Magic. Not a lot of this is in logic without that Sewer's Key. I don't think he cares all that much. We'll see what he does. Yep, gonna...
Oh.
Setting up a Death Ward?
I guess so, because of where that Sank location is, right? Because it's at Lumberjack, so maybe just trying to get that scum for later?
Ooh, that is a glove in the Hera Big chest. I forgot we had the Hera Bigs, that is logic. Totally missed the compass chest there, Whips. What was the second chest there? That wasn't the glove, as we find, Hyrule Castle, left is at Laser Bridge. Not helpful.
Ooh,
Arrows, thank you, top file. Here's Moldorm, and we'll see the Hyrule Castle right entrance for Furious Magic. And... oh, that's Death Mountain Ascension, okay. So, right next to start. Hyrule Castle... not a real winner for connectors today. And, well, they're giving us a green rupee and a crystal. That's pretty nice to have, at least.
Yeah, really convenient to get that out of the way, and having the glove as well will sort of open up a fair number of otherwise potentially not nasty orphans in sort of light war routing, so super nice that Illus gets that here, and I'm sure that Furious Magic will get it as well.
Yeah, Illus, the glove is a good find for Illus, but at this point there is absolutely no way of... there's no person who's actually in the lead, really, at the moment. It's way too early to say.
Yeah.
We're 16 minutes into a seed that is... it's Crosskeys. These usually run at least 2 hours. Okay, 120 minutes as we find our second pod small. We got, that is locked behind the Sewer's Key logic. Sanity check. And, there's a back of Skull Woods. Let me get this bridge chest. We'll, gonna have to come back from Moth. We don't have a way to light the torches, nor do you really feel like doing Fighter's Sword Moth right now, even if we had it. And there's a bottle in Zelda Cell and Knit, in the Skullwoods Bridge chest. That is a safe scum of that.
Yep.
For Furious Magic.
So it's coming away a bottle and a pod key. You assume that if the game wants you to go to pod, you'll get some pod keys thrown your way, so...
And the bottle, we haven't seen Sick Kid. There's 4 in the game. It's not worth keeping.
Yep. Finally getting back to Hype Cave at Hyrule Main, so we'll see what the game wanted to throw at us super early on.
Yep. Alright, more... Fairy is at least a health refill. We're gonna see Hype Cave from Furious Magic. But that entrance isn't in itself the most useful. Alright, Hype Cave, $20, a heart container, the map to ice, and a small key to...
Speaking of pod small keys.
Alright, they've got ourselves Bumper Cave here in West Death Mountain. TR left here north of the lake.
Would you know that TR is a pendant as well, which is kind of convenient?
Hopefully don't need to worry about an ice rod hunt today. No cane, so not a connector at the moment. Left side's also not the greatest for that, but that could be something for later.
Yeah, also not the most fun trying to do fighter sword pokey, so...
And this is the old man for Illus, yeah.
Yes.
There is a small key on Spectral Rock. The singles of Loopy in the lava chest, and Old Man giving us a big key to Thieves. Okay, game. We did find Thieves very early.
Yeah, that is at Smith Hut, so it'll be fairly easy for them to get back to with that sync, but yeah.
That's a thing to consider. Where's Jane Jobs? Fairly low equipment, as we find... That's Super Bunny, I think, right?
Yes, that is bottom of Super Bunny. Or I guess one side of it. Top-bottom is a very confusing thing for that cave.
Yeah. And Chain Chomps is just some arrows for Furious Magic. But Super Bunny gonna eventually be something useful, potentially. Also, that moved to the other side of the mountain in the other world today. Yeah, bomb refill for Furious Magic. Like Island is just a heart piece. And there's Blind Hut. Rolling Brothers up here on the mountain.
There's a lot of irony and just humor with this game today. I see, Sahabot. You've done well.
Where did that just put us out at? Spike Cave?
Basically Spike Cave, 100%. Just swapping
Excellent.
Worlds.
Fantastic game. Spike Cave on both sides. Excellent. Much appreciated. Really needed that. I don't think there was much of anything in Blind's Hut on the other side.
If I'm looking at what's been tracked, I don't see much at all.
I remember seeing something vaguely looking interesting. I think it's the shield FM now has. I was like, that looks like something that's not a rupee, but no, just a shield. Super Bunny, map to Hyrule Castle, no thanks, and a hurt piece. Also, that's a bit better. All relative, though, is Saha's hut here is going to take us to a shop. And the other side of Super Bunny is TR Bridge. That's pretty good. Which goes nowhere. It is good to get that entrance out of the way, because it can always stay in the back of your mind, like, because that is one of those areas where you need a connector to, and you might not find it for a while.
Yeah, also thank you to the trackers for doing all of the hard work for us so that we can focus on this. Star and I are both taking our own individual notes. and then occasionally missing things that happen. So thank you to Daruk and Tafal for this. Ooh, Master Sword.
Master Sword and Spectral Rock. I have apparently entirely spaced where this is.
I think this is probably at Eastern Palace, if...
Right, yeah, that would make sense, with where he was. And, yeah, confirmed. Old man today is hiding out in the village. Welcome in, the Silver Gauntlet's waiting with a party of 42. Hope you are all doing well. Know you guys are coming from a Ocarina of Time randomizer. I think it was a Triforce Splits tournament restream. Welcome into me doing my other high side hobby here, ALttPR. We've got ourselves some Crosskeys as we find the brewery really didn't go far, did it? As we find
no.
Illus got the hype. They both got the hype cave NPC first, and then came back to their chests because they didn't have bombs when they first found that place. A Late Flute 5, absolutely nothing. For context, Saf, I am also a TSG organizer, so I know that crowd well.
So that is your other personality is your OOT passions, so... As we were talking earlier.
Well, technically I do OOTR, Z2R, and ALttPR, so all three, as we find Swamp in the village, or just north of the village.
The Renaissance commentator, got it.
Dig game time for Illus. Furious Magic is going to check the connector here. What item is crucial at the moment? Nothing super crucial. They've got a variety of connectors to take. They've got a lot of things to do. We're still in what's the early game of Crosskeys, where they're just doing exploration, trying to figure out where stuff's at, and get an idea of what the map looks like, effectively.
I mean, I think that Moon Pearl's obviously, to answer the chat, is like the most vital, right? Just because we've had a sort of feeling out where the connectors lead us. Illus to get Mitts at some point, which I missed.
Mitts, as we get dumped at Bumper Ledge, in the Dark World Fierce Magic Mitts, we're on the Skullwoods Bridge chest.
Okay, that's right.
Spike Cave here is, in the Dark Lumberjack. Did not catch the other entrances south of, the village. Did you catch those?
There was just the old man, 2 shops, and there was a dark cave at C-Shape Hut. So we didn't see that, and I didn't have volume up to hear if there were bats or not, so...
Alright, good enough. I wanted to know if there's anything I wanted to note down in my own entrances. Gonna skip the Curiosity Shop now for the moment for Furious Magic. I'm gonna check Dark Sank. Which is that item? An entrance.
I don't know what to call it. It's just sort of the funky connector for me.
Because I remember that is a connector, but I forget which one that is.
It's
very essential.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to think it's Spectral Rock, but it's not that. Oh, we've got Meyer here in the Curiosity Shop. Looking here from Furious Magic, Chest Cave has gone to Dark Pipe Cave here, giving us a small key to Castle Tower, which exists. Friend of Meyer got a couple things here. Furious Magic has no keys and no fire source, so can only do so much. Here, speaking of Castle Tower, there it is in the bomb shop. Yep, for Illus.
I remember we saw that super early when Furious Magic had that, the granny connector that spit them out at, Dark Bunk Rocks near Link's Hut, so...
Okay, Sewer's key in the Meyer Bridge chest. That's solid to find, considering that our sanctuary is at the Lumberjack. The back of Hyrule Castle is... you're not dropping into that.
Yeah.
Spike's chest is just a compass. Figure Station is Laser Bridge safety exit of Manila. Okay, thanks. I keep forgetting the Fairy Station cave exists at all. We are going to see the lobby chest here for Fairy's Magic, and I think that's it for what he can do without a fire source with a big key. Well, actually, map chest exists. So yeah. Just a heart piece there. Let's see what Agina has for Illus.
Oh.
Hey, that is a mirror.
So now this is the mode where you just basically take every single connector, you follow it through. This is going to be a Zelda take the wheel kind of seed.
Yep. Yeah, it was in the dam entrance. His Furious Magic gets $50 at the Meyer map chest, and that's it for him for now. I'm gonna see the desert area checks now for Illus, starting with the M Cave as it's known because of the shape of this area. That is Ice Palace. Easily accessible from Link's house. That is the Smiths.
Illus. Illus. Oh.
Illus autopiloting, forgetting that he has the Smith with him and has to turn right back around. Oops, and for Smith's only giving up Bloomerang, and I'd agree with Chad that Furious Magic's route so far just hasn't quite worked out in choice of connectors and routing. One of Skullwoods is only ever shuffled with each other. Unless we find Checkerboard Cave here in the Agina entrance, giving us a small key to Skullwoods.
Poor Furious Magic is being absolutely bullied here right now.
Yeah.
So in terms of entrances, we're missing GT, which we need for dungeons, Eastern, Pod, and the back of Desert, but we've seen most everything now.
We have. We'd probably also like to find another TR entrance for that,
Right.
but not it. It's not the worst if we can. Sick Kid has not moved exceptionally far. Just north of the village of Outcasts there.
Runner's
And
about
we're
to get a
gonna
high five.
Going to have to leave that back of Skullwood's entrance alone for now because the fire rod has not turned up yet, unless it's here. Which would be kind of hard.
This means they also had sort of the mean Skullwoods as well, which is connected to itself, so they will have to do a drop down to get to the back, if I'm not mistaken.
My
Look at
sense
the
of
front, rather.
direction is atrocious, so I actually don't know. And yeah, that's chest is always a small key and cross keys, so you don't end up getting yourself stuck if your layout sucks. Heart container. Compass chest going to be the last chest here, as we do not have the big key. And that is a small key to GT, number 2. Haven't found GT yet, because of course. Not that we'd actually be able to do much in GT. No hammer, no cane, no fire rod, no big key.
You look longingly at what's on the torch, you get those 2 chests, and you think, I really wish I had more.
Yep, can't even do tile room without a cane. When will Illus remember he has well access? Good question. Right.
Yeah, so
Because
that
yeah,
was
with
that's, yeah.
Mirror we have access there. Yeah, it took me a second to remember how we could get to the well, because that's in the magic vat today. Not that we've seen it yet, mind if we're questioning in chat, it's just that it's a particularly checked dense location for new items, having 5 things in there. Layer shed is some more money. Furious magic. Yeah, and we still haven't seen the chest from Paradox yet from either runner, so that's something to keep in mind. That's 7 new items.
Well, now Illus can do that, because before it was the bottom, so we needed the mirror to get through for the block deletion. So now Illus can do this.
Yeah, I forget about the block deletion in Paradox. That would be why. I was forgetting that earlier.
Yeah,
I
think Illus did not want to mirror so early there, so this is getting this portal back and probably doing the items in Paradox as well as the well, I suspect.
Likely. Illus did not make a pet check. They can't make a pet check, they don't have a book. Yeah, they need a... because apparently finding a book teaches you literacy automatically in this game.
Actually, and to be fair too, Illus does have the old man entrance, which at that point can easily get to well, can get to Paradox. So this makes sense, I think, just checking all of these different entrances and connectors, and Illus decided to go in. So.
Furious Magic is in Lightworld Shopping Mall. Unfortunately, does not have a glove, so we'll be missing that entrance for a while. That's
the top of Paradox, or of.
Bumper was that? Oh, that's a top of Bumper. That's the other side of Bumper.
Spec Rock is the word that I'm. Yeah, and then we've seen the other side of this connector as well, which will go right to Dark Sank. Yes.
Sort out my notes. Link can read signs without the book, I suppose. Something about the pedestal being in an ancient form of Hylian is the lore behind it, if memory serves.
You would know more than I do. I've always assumed that Link is making signs to the player, sort of like breaking the fourth wall a bit. So Link is actually illiterate until we get the book.
Yeah, it's also quite possible. I'm not really sure. Okay, Furious Magic down in the village area as Illus heads on through the front of Meyer here. Essentially the same equipment as what Furious Magic had earlier, so that's going to make an appreciable difference in routing. To the Smoky helps a little.
Yeah, the Smoky probably speeds up considerably though, just for the having to do this, but they're still going to have to come back anyway, like you said earlier, because of the fire source.
No fire source, no big key either to get the big chest, no cane, even if they wanted to head to Vidi.
Right. But this is a fairly easy dungeon to get back to as well, so get these checks in and then...
Yeah, Furious Magic hasn't really gotten up on the mountain yet, I think might be one of his bigger problems right now as far as, well, things.
Yeah, and that was...
I remember how Illus got over there.
So that was Desert mid connector that got to East F Mountain bottom, so...
And then the hookshot gets you over the other way. So yeah, that is currently Furious Magic's problem, essentially, is a lack of a Death Mountain trip. Otherwise, they're pretty...
Yeah, they've seen most of the same things, to be fair, it's just that this is...
But not having those, well, myths is costing Furious Magic some efficiency to have to backtrack for various things later. Spike Cave is not accessible to either runner now, despite having to keep, and, well, we know there's a bottle in accessible and in logic with that sewers key. It's, we don't have a hammer to actually, you know, do Spike Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken Hut here for Illus. Just some money. Stumpy is more money.
Illus will now
And we-
find Hyrule Castle right.
Yeah, so that's the difference. Is Fury? They each chose a different dungeon to explore the connectors on. Furious Magic chose Hyrule Castle. Illus chose Desert, and it turned out Desert had the better connector to things. We know Illus won't find much in the front of Escape, but can go to the back. Which we haven't seen yet, since he does have that Sewers key. And those will be some new checks, not in Logic without a lamp, but I don't think he cares all that much at the moment. Certainly not going to stop him from going there, as Furious Magic's gonna take that hack a tower key and head on up. Illus also found this just after getting the Hyrule Castle small key, but at that point chose to not continue. So we'll see if Illus missed anything because of missed anything here. 2 checks successful. $20 in the first chest. Here's a small key pod for Illus.
And getting that bottle, one way or another.
Needs to beat up the Scar first. Furious Magic taking the death there. I did not catch what that chest had.
Oh, it was actually red goo, so...
Oh, nice. At least it wasn't the fairy, because that would have been...
That would have been miserable.
Alright, alright. Dark World Shopping Mall next. Still gloveless, unfortunately. Those 2 glove-locked entrances in the shopping malls might come back to bite later for Furious Magic. Sickid, giving us a shovel. Okay.
A fetch quest to a fetch quest. Thank you, Sick Kid.
Yep! Alright, Dark Shopping Mall. First entrance is junk. And the second entrance is... Minimal Orb Cave. That's good. Compass to Eastern, small key to Pod, that's number 4. Map to Meyer, and the Yard Keys. Not too bad.
So our 5-item caves have been particularly stingy today, though.
Yeah, they've got like 1 or 2 moderately useful items, but nothing that, you know, really breaks the seed open or anything.
Yeah.
Favor loads a new entrance for Illus.
Oh! Well then.
That's a find, as we're gonna see the Dark Potion Shop here for Furious Magic. There's the Red Meringue. And the Compass. As mentioned, the only other thing Illus can do here is check the torch. That entrance is not exceptionally helpful for Furious Magic. And just some bombs in the torch. So that is it for GT for now, as we have absolutely no way of going anywhere else even if you wanted to.
Yeah, again, poor Furious Magic really getting sort of hamstrung by lack of love, not able to do Catfish or mirror up to, you know, not without a mirror as well, even get to all that, so this gets us to pod area, I suppose, but still just... There's a pod spiral.
Illus going to Dark Shopping now. We'll see what this glove-locked entrance is that Furious Magic couldn't do a second ago.
Right, we'll get both actually with this Light World and Dark World, just super efficient from Illus with the mirror and everything else. Ooh, Saha.
Ooh, Saha, that's a tough entrance to miss potentially for Furious Magic. Bow in Saha's and the Burna. Oh no, that's a tough one for Furious Magic to miss it. What was the green pendant? Looks like Thieves was our green pendant, which is interesting, since we've got the big key, and we've already found Thieves itself as well. Illus is going to get majorly disappointed by Mini Moldorm Cave. Don't think this is really exciting. And the Pod Shed, I guess, here isn't all that. Is just a fairy fountain for Furious Magic. We're gonna see Dark Flute 5. And there's Easter, and speaking of the foe that Illus found a second ago, mind you, it doesn't have the big key anyway, but that's something to know as, oh no, that's the back of Desert in the Light World shopping glove locked.
So now we're just missing Pod, and we've seen everything.
We've seen, well, yeah, Pod will have seen every single dungeon. That's gonna be Illus taking a pause to look at that Master Sword. Because with the entrance render, that isn't the most. It's not the. He doesn't currently want to deal with the connector.
Yeah, Illus will eventually find this when he goes up to the Pod area, or Pod Eastern area, and find that by him.
But that's kind of unfortunate, honestly, for Furious Magic, both Eastern and Saha being in the glove-locked entrances of the shopping malls that he couldn't get earlier, because they had a choice of connectors. Furious Magic took the Hyrule Castle connectors, and Illus went for the Desert Palace main connector, and it turned out the Desert main connector got up to the mountain, which locked both gloves in an assortment of odds and ends. And those gloves have really made a difference in this seed so far.
Yeah, the gloves, and then additionally that sort of Dora the Explorer check of the world with the Smith got the mirror as well. So this is just like Illus will have access to most everything, and yeah, just
it's just kind of an unfortunate snowball. It's on the tough spots of Crosskeys where you make a choice of what connector to take, and turns out one is the better choice than the other. It's entirely arbitrary as to where they take you. It just so happened that Illus picked the better one. Catfish giving us a small key to Ganon's Tower. That is number 3, if only we could actually do anything with them. Help. And there's the bomb shop. Mire and Ice Palace being our red crystals.
That seems familiar.
Just a bit. I think they technically swapped 5-6, but yes, those are the red crystals in the original game, as Furious Magic takes a Death Warp from the Eastern, providing nothing of note. Illus has just enough money for King's Ore. We'll see if he's a scam, because the bottle vendor was a negative 80% return on investment today. And we're going to see the pod entrance now for Furious Magic. For, giving us a harvest. Yeah. Illus not even going to bother picking it up. Really doesn't need it sitting here at, I think that's 8 hearts.
8 hearts blue mail, I think Illus is very fine. So this, I think, like we pointed out earlier, is going to be the well, and then probably following up with Paradox.
I'd expect so. Furious Magic finding... TR big key chest here at big chest area at the odd entrance. It's not a ton better. We set up our found the TR left and TR big key chest. The entrance is the TR. That one though is your only way to that big chest, which might be nice later as we find. Speaking of TR, that's a small key in the well. Some bombs, which is perfect because Illus didn't have any. A map to Skull Woods, and $100. Illus had no bombs. I also don't think he had any money to buy bombs until he did this place, as he finds a fifth pod small. And here's Spiral Cave for Furious Magic.
On the plus side, I think Furious Magic will probably be getting funneled into that desert connector soon. The unfortunate part is what Furious Magic finds, which will be the gloves and everything else.
Yeah, and he knows he'll be kind of behind at this point, at that point, since he knows he could have gotten his items much earlier. Other side of Spiral Cave is on top of the floating island there. Which, well, that's one way to get to Death Mountain. Unfortunately, the wrong way is to get a fire rod off the purple chest.
Oh, no.
Okay, game. Oh, Fire Big is an item of dubious use. Required action. Never mind, I was trying to remember. Forgot that was crystal now.
It's dubious because they found it so late, but it is required, unfortunately.
Yes. Also, that is Ether for TR. Thank you to our trackers who caught that, because I didn't. Furious Magic is on Death Mountain, just in the Dark World. Just quite where he wants to be, and it's going to take that seat, but... Yeah, Fire Rod is a good find. That gets us... We'll be able to finish Moth, light some torches here and there. We can't actually do right side GT yet because we don't have that cane. We can do left side fire now with that Fire Rod as well. Just generally having a fire source is a nice thing to have. We did find Ice Palace, so that is... available. Hammerless, caneless ice, but with no keys, but it is available. Not the most appealing play, but it exists. Furious Magic found the back of Old Man somewhere, so he's gonna now take that to the front, which... that works for Death Mountain access.
That is your Death Mountain. So that was at Hylia Island, actually, so this will work out. Get it? Not the way that the game wanted him to, but it's there. Toffel, I think there's been more than 2 accidental mirrors. There was at least GT in this one. I think there was a 3rd.
Probably, yeah, I think so. I haven't been counting as, that's the Thieves' Big for Furious Magic. Yeah, Illus currently making his way through the escape in the dark, when there's Fire Rod shot, and getting a bloopy off the Dark Cross chest. Not helpful game. Yeah, Furious Magic is going to finally get the gloves and everything else that's up here on the mountain. Equipment is essentially what Illus had when he was up here 30 minutes ago, so we'll not be able to do anything new essentially, which is kind of unfortunate for Furious Magic, but we'll at least get those gloves, which he quite badly needs.
Yeah, quite desperately, because then the unfortunate part too is all of these entrances that have just been sort of orphaned,
isolated, yeah. Especially like both shopping malls glove locked entrances had things.
Oh, no.
Myers one, that's an ice rod game.
We're big keys and keys out of logic, as well as a cane of Samaria, but
we're missing the cane of Samaria and a plan for TR exist. That is completely useless for Illus. That's gonna be a whole bunch more entrances. There's Mimic Cave, which just moved a little bit Down, okay.
Right, but rules of Crosskeys, you never actually find Mimic Cave with the hammer the first time you do it. That's understandable.
Yep. Here's Magic is going to take this connector and find that it does not take you very far.
We will actually get to see this entrance, though, which we did miss, or Illus didn't check, so...
Oh, over here. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, it's just a ferry. I think there might have been a ferry in the Light World, too. I can't remember. Okay, here's back to Desert Main. We'll see Desert Right now for Illus. It's the only thing he can do here. Illus did also, in fact, buy a bomb upgrade, having found the upgrade ferry there on the mountain, so is not going to have as many bomb worries now. Oh hey, Light World Bonk Rocks by Sank. Don't need to worry about those now. Those are two of the Bonk Rocks eliminated now as entrances because we found connectors to them, which is nice to not worry about those being boots-locked entrances that might hide items later that you need. Because who knows where the boots went off to?
We'll never find them, it's Crosskeys, it's fine.
Possible.
We haven't seen K45, which Illus could check. Illus, where going?
Well, Illus was right next to that, and I don't think he checked the shovel either. He has it, and a mirror.
Illus is back to... Okay, the Saga Tower for 2 items for Illus.
And here's Furious Magic realizing he could have done this a long time ago. Yes, we do in fact with those gloves have the desert left item and the desert left entrance and the desert ledge items available with the gloves since we got to connect to the back of desert earlier.
Oh, that's right. That was that hookshot cave that put us in the back as well. You're right.
Yep. No access to the mire area yet. We might never find it, but we might necessarily be necessary considering we found most of our dungeons at this point. But that is something to consider whenever we get either the flute or a connector there. And now for Furious Magic, we'll be picking up, what was in here? This is going to be this is going to be mitts for Furious Magic as well as the small key to Mire. And that's about it for what was actually in here.
Yes, and you're quite right, chat. We are just missing pot at this point, and then a few items, but yeah, the game is starting to mostly crystallize, and again, I think that we have... Illus has a few entrances to check. This is probably potentially going to be up to the pod area with flippers, I think. And kind of just clearing off these other entrances that he's not gotten to.
These are new entrances for Illus, but Furious Magic did check these earlier, finding TR left. So wondering why Illus picked up that bush. That is so he could walk through the portal without actually triggering it. And here's Blindside, which I
think this was just the shield, and that was literally all that was here.
Yes, correct. And we've got ourselves Allison joining us in commentary. Hello there, welcome in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my not at all absolutely messed up Sunday. Glad to be joining everyone late.
Welcome.
You're good. Welcome in Silica to Sunriding with a party of 5 in chat. Hello. So we are 58 minutes into a Crosskeys tournament race here between Furious Magic and Illus. Going 1-0 so far in Swiss. We are, it's been interesting so far. We've seen so far. We've located most of our dungeons. We are missing a lot of it. We are missing a lot of keys, a lot of reward info, and quite a number of items. So far, the big difference between the two in the race has been that there was a point in the race where Illus chose to take the Desert Palace connectors, and Furious Magic chose to take the Hyrule Castle connectors. One led to both gloves, and eventually a chain that led to the mirror for Illus. Furious Magic did not find much of anything of importance on the other side, unfortunately, which has been the difference maker between the two so far.
I was going to say, it does look like Illus looks like he's in a little bit of a better position right now, at least item-wise. Obviously, they're all knotted up crystal-wise, but...
Yeah, the Hera Crystal's quite recent for Furious Magic, who, just due to a lack of gloves and mirrors, is missing a variety of entrances all over the place. Particularly notable would be Saha's Hut in the desert. Saha's Hut in the back of Desert, and the two glove-locked entrances in the shopping malls are kind of problematic. Saha's Hut obviously having the green pendant information, but also the bow that Illus has, as well as, of course, Desert Back being an important entrance to know for Illus as well on that shopping mall glove-locked entrance, which Furious Magic will eventually get to. Picking up the Smith here. Smiths are hiding out by the purple chest guy today.
I also think that you end up in a position where the longer you go without the mirror, the more time it tends to cost you. Because, like you said, Furious has been going around and dropping sort of mirror orphans in various places. And that just hurts from a pure efficiency standpoint.
Yep. We did see the front of Eastern here earlier. Illus has a bow, but without a big key, there is no actual difference. There was absolutely nothing remotely worth writing down in here. Listen in the commentary channel, you'll find a notes sheet if you want to get brushed up on where some stuff was.
And I can also take a screenshot of my map tracker, which is on a tiny bit.
Yep. Hopefully you can at least kind of read my notes. They're a little bit messy.
Yeah, I can read the notes. I'm looking through.
Currently the two runners really just doing stuff the others already checked. Furious Magic catching up on assorted entrances that he hasn't been able to do. Taking the Smith on a Grand World Tour. Happy 1 hour, everyone, as Illus finds $300 in Eastern.
This is also going to feel kind of bad for Furious too, just because Smith's is so much slower without mirror. Especially with no boots, with no flute, with nothing that kind of makes the turning in part a little less painful.
Right, and even to the point that Furious Magic hasn't found that as well, but I suspect it's going to know where to go next. This is at just some of the desert entrances, the desert area entrances, so...
Yeah. We'll be finding, I believe this is Saha's in Dark World.
Yes.
It's Desert Back in Light World Shopping Mall, Glove Locked. Which reminds me here at the hour mark, give everyone a follow here. Our two runners, Furious Magic and Illus, to my co-coms, Zappakill and Allison, and to our two trackers, the Rook and Topfile, who are doing the clickety-clack. Much appreciated. Crosskeys is a quite difficult mode to track. As well as thank you a lot to iBot, who is our restreamer today.
Especially with Mirror being at Dam, I have to assume that's going to feel really, really bad for Furious Magic, since that's just a Sphere Zero mirror sitting there, basically. And that's a lot of time lost in just raw efficiency plays, which in most cases is what kind of determines Crosskey scenes, or at least when you get into that last item go mode lottery is what determines the weighted odds there.
Yeah, and speaking of assorted orphan things, it's not just entrances, checks too here for Furious Magic could not do Catfish earlier, due to a lack of gloves, so he is heading there now. Illus did check this. I don't think it was much of anything.
I believe it was a piece of art. It was something, or no. Can't remember now.
It's not on my notes sheet, so it wasn't anything worth writing down.
But I mean, and like I said, Alison, to your point, this might actually be a pod key. Speaking of something.
Might have been actually. I might have. Oh, GT key. I did write it down. Never mind. Yeah. They have 3 of the 4 GT small keys, Allison, and absolutely no way of doing much of anything in the place.
Yeah, they're one item off from just about everything you might want to be able to do in GT. You need the hammer to get to the left side of the can to get to the right side, with the big key to climb, and
we have none of those things.
All of those things are kind of suspicious, except for the fact that you cannot do them.
Yep. We're starting to get more into the mid game at this point. Now we've gotten a fairly thorough entrance check. We've seen most of the easy things to do. I'm starting to consider what dungeons they might want to look at. We have the back of Pendant Thieves without a hammer. Or small key. We did find Ice Palace earlier. That is in the desert area. And also near the desert area in the M Cave. That was got quite a few checks in there, but no keys, no hammer, no Cade is not the most ideal play. Left side Mire has not been checked. They found the fire rod after doing the other checks in Mire, Allison. Can't do desert without any keys. We've already seen the map chest and porch. We've seen swamp, but we haven't seen the dam, so can't do anything in there. And TR is.
You also don't have the swamp small.
No, and TR is completely non-accessible right now. We've seen without further accessible without a cane.
I mean, just sort of like looking at the raw positioning, if I'm sitting in Illus's shoes, there's a lot of value to me on just trying to play the entrance game. I don't know if I'm going to need pod or not necessarily, but at this point in time, I'm going to find it very, very unlikely that I'm not going to need pod in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so sitting there with 5 keys with the bow, it becomes a very, very potentially lucrative play for me, whereas none of these other things really jump off of the table in terms of what you're looking for.
Nice shot in this Mire Small for Furious Magic out of the back of Escape. We have, by the way, determined Ganon is vanilla today. Write that down. So they will need to eventually climb and finish GT.
That's an interesting proposition too, because that way if you do get that somewhat early GT big key, if you can route, if I'm reading his tracker right, it looks like Illus hasn't been to Pyramid yet, and therefore probably also hasn't been to Top of Castle yet.
Nope.
Which means that there is certainly some value to deferring the walk to the Pyramid, he says, knowing that Illus looks like he's heading to the Pyramid right now. I mean, he could, no, because he's been in Dark Shovel. This feels like probably, actually, this might be a connector play instead.
We saw this earlier, but I don't remember what it was. Shock. Illus hasn't been to this yet, I think. Illus just hadn't checked that entrance yet.
There is some wisdom to playing a little bit greedy here and seeing if you can find GT and find a way to get that big key, and that can just be, that is my trip to the Pyramid. That being said, it looks like they're not really drowning in attractive options right now, and that is an item plus 3 guaranteed entrances.
On the other side, Furious Magic going through that Hookshot Cave connector, which they couldn't do anything with earlier due to lack of glove. Unfortunately, Desert Left entrance is junk, and so is that Desert Ledge. We'll be able to turn into Smiths for what is a Bloomerang, and find Ice Palace here. So can at least ditch the follower. This small key was Woods, alright.
I was saying, I mean, it's not necessarily unattractive to go to Skullwoods, but it's also not particularly attractive to... I mean, honestly, the other place, and have we been to actual Vanilla Skullwoods yet?
We have been to Vanilla
Skullwoods. Okay. We haven't seen the back of Skullwoods entrance. We saw where Mothula is earlier. They had no fire on at the time. That is also a thing to do.
Yeah. Although it's pretty heavily out of logic right now with no small keys, and it's you don't even know if it's a crystal right now, so it's not an overwhelmingly attractive play, I think.
And this will be nice for Illus though, because this will be the Paradox Cave items that he had yet to sequence break, since we do know where the lower Paradox Cave is in CAC. So
Yeah, honestly, as Illus at this point, I'm a little tempted to just kind of grab a connector and just take it as far as I can at this point and see where it spits out. See if I can get out.
Big to Eastern, that's now completable.
That also becomes an arguably solid play, given that he has to beat that dungeon.
Illus is Furious Magic is going to finally find his mirror here, which is not going to feel good.
No, that feels really bad.
Yeah. Alright, Paradox, this is new to us as well as to Illus, giving us Big Heated Desert. We did find the back, so that is a thing. And not much else here. Big Heat, the Eastern and Desert, both pretty good finds. This will be the well now for Furious Magic. That's what's in the Magic Bat drop down.
Honestly, if I'm Furious Magic, I'm also half expecting to find the hammer here. Just because this is such... It's so weird to have the Mitts and Mirror and Pearl before you can have...
Illus checked this earlier.
I'm not saying we're going to find it. I'm saying from Furious Magic's perspective.
Yeah, that's fair.
When you get this sort of backdoor entrance into here, either through Mitts, Pearl, and Mirror, or just through Connector and Mirror, it always feels a little bit telegraphed that it might be something. And of course, it's not. But
it is a fair play. But yeah. And currently we have an assortment of moderately unattractive dungeons with either a few quick but not many checks, or just checks that just aren't fun to do. And then we've still got assorted entrances. I think we're seeing still some entrances over on one or two entrances on Dark Death Mountain.
Well, this will take us to Floating Island, which will be really nice, because when we saw this the first time, Furious Magic didn't have the mirror as well. So
that's gotta feel really bad too for Furious.
Yep.
To get to the point where like you feel like I'm gonna have to go through this connector again, and you never want to have to go through Spiral Cave a second time if you can avoid it.
Race game left entrance is nothing. And that's a lamp, okay. Little bit of logic maybe, not a huge find.
No, I mean it's kind of nice, but it's not a big deal.
No. Going to find that Big Heated Mire now. Can actually, the Mire Big Chest is available as well as left side with that. We'll skip this entrance here for no apparent reason earlier on Furious Magic's side. Nothing he needs to worry about, at least.
I assume he had the glove at that point?
Yeah,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
well then that would in fact...
TR main here is our second last TR Connect entrance, leaving us with Laser Bridge being missing, because of course.
A small thing that does actually put in play, though, is that it actually makes Turtle Rock, the dungeon, or the entrance, a little bit less bad to come back to. Because it does give you the possibility that you can kill Trinex and get insta-teleported to the front of Turtle Rock, and use that to, A, clear the front of Turtle Rock, but also, B, check the Turtle Rock entrance, whereas normally this would be kind of an annoying orphan to get back to.
You were saying something, though, about, or asking about if Illus had a glove when he skipped the K45 entrance. You were just thinking being able to come back to a different point, or...?
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Furious Magic having skipped Hookshot Cave entrance.
Okay. Also, yes.
Yes. We saw the small key earlier is Thieves Town, which we can't use without that hammer that's missing.
I mean, you can. Or, sorry, more to the point, it puts more things in the Thieves Town basement in logic, because the only thing the hammer locks in Thieves Town is the big chest. And so, in a world where you're not loving your options, all of a sudden the Thieves Town play becomes a much more attractive option, because you know it's in logic.
Yeah.
It's still pretty unattractive.
Yeah. This is gonna be finishing him off now for Illus. This will be a pyramid check with Furious Magic, having picked up that Fire Rod.
And he can get back to Thieves' Town relatively quickly too if he wants to, just by saving and quitting the old man and using the mirror. One of the things I'm always very, very aggressive about when I play is that I really love to get that third save and quit point. Because sometimes when your save and quit points are undesirable, I think Hyrule Castle Sanctuary is probably the #1 contributor, but this is also, Lumberjack is also a pretty bad spot for the save and quit point. And getting some of those that make transit into CAC into some of the more common thoroughfares of the scene is really a really nice time save.
Very interesting to see too when Illus decides to check the back of Old Man. Actually, haven't seen it yet, but now with the lamp, that's sort of our last save and quit spot.
We found the back of Old Man.
Did we? Okay. Oh, that's right.
The light roll, it's the island in Link, right? For the
Bomb Fairy or whatever her name is.
Upgrade Fairy, yeah.
Right.
Moth giving us our big key to GT. Okay, that's required.
Go. I mean, there's actually, hold on. I have to look at some of the entrances. Graveyard. Oh, that's a really gross GT, actually.
Oh, apparently back of Old Man is C-shaped house, and I'm a scatterbrain. Am I? My notes are really a little bit all over the place today. C-shaped house. Oh yeah, one side is C-shaped house, the other is the Lake Island. But yes, GT is all the way on the graveyard. Just kind of terrible, Allison. Is not a super fast way over there.
Well, so the quote good thing about this is that if necessary, Illus could go kill Agatu, and then he can walk back to a graveyard ledge from there if he finds something in the climb, like the cane, like the hammer, that would open up substantial chunks of GT. The Skullwood small key that we have marked, is that, or we have two of them marked for Illus. He just got one. Is the other one from the guaranteed vanilla one, or has he
Guaranteed.
found...
Guaranteed in the Akina entrance to the two.
So then we still have a single out of logic. We're still a single key out of logic for that GT big key anyway.
Library and Mimic Cave is just some bombs.
I mean, always nice when you have some of those bad entrances that you can just shrug it off and say, okay, I don't have to come back here.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. Alright, this is gonna be Illus taking the connector here in Desert. I think he is heading back on over to the CAC area with this. Yep.
And this will also be checking the big chest too, since we do have the big key now.
Oh yeah.
I think a very sort of underrated skill in Crosskeys in general is learning to sort of worm other things into the checks that you're doing. Was there a desert in CAC? I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, race game right side is where the other is left side desert. Allison.
You probably should have gone out left side desert to activate the. Oh, never mind. Okay, it's that.
That's fine. Yeah, that works. That flute is Meyer area access since we have mitts, and we have not found a connector to the Meyer area otherwise, Amazon.
That makes a pretty compelling play as well right now. Meyer is just so free to go back to at any point. Like there's no real harm in saying, well, I'm gonna leave the Meyer entrance here.
And to what you were saying earlier, do you suspect Illus at this point is just kind of getting, like, let me get my last entrances with the 5 pod smalls and everything else, and then sort of weigh my options? Since he doesn't really have super appealing options, you would say? Or...
I feel like the two most appealing options for him right now are either going to be just do the GT climb or check out the Meyer area. And obviously he's opting to check out the mire area. That makes sense. Like he still hasn't found pod. He's still a healthy number of items from go mode, and having one extra item when you go to GT potentially helps a lot here.
Yeah.
Because you want to minimize the number of times you're walking to Graveyard Ledge, because it's such a gross place to have to walk to.
It is. There's pod, left Mire shed. I also entirely missed the medallion for Mire.
It was Quake again.
Fun. We have no idea where that is.
But at this point, we do have every dungeon, so...
Hopefully it's not gonna matter.
Right, we're missing the dam for a pendant swamp.
Missing dam for Pendant Swamp. We are missing
Notably, though,
assorted loose ends. It's nothing super notable, I guess. Oh, Laser Bridge is the other we'd probably like to find at some point.
Notably, though, Illus doesn't know that Swamp is a pendant, and so Dam still does hold a pretty good amount of value for him.
Right.
Even compared to maybe where it would if he had this knowledge.
There's Ether, which is not useful today.
That's a couple combat uses, but yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, the dam and I guess Laser Bridge are about the two most notable missing entrances. And then it's just loose ends, I think, is the rest.
Oh, so if I'm Illus, I'm probably checking out the rest of the mire area, and then I'm probably just bailing and saying, okay, I'm gonna go for the dungeon plays now. Would be my play if I were in his position.
Finding our last skull wood small. Discuss it. You know about that GT logic.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. That it felt like the last skull wood small was gonna... I mean, and the fact that it does show up in logic is actually pretty telling here, in my opinion.
Yeah, that we know that you can climb. That GT climbs in.
Yeah, it sort of would be pushing me more heavily towards the GT climb. Especially, I mean, it wouldn't be having the same effect if it wasn't the case of the GT climb being hard required. But since it is, you just kind of may as well do it at this point.
Second TR small was nice. We do need one to get to Trinex if we want to. Debatable. Still nothing we can do in TR. We do have other checks left in Mire, Flare locked in the big chest, but cannot get to video without Arcane. There's Quake, convenient.
Those are basically all the entrances except for the Bonk Rocks now, which I think we've seen 2 of the 3 anyway, so...
We've seen the Dark World Bonk Rocks by the Potion Hut, by the Bomb Shop, as we find our second Castle Tower key. That one is useless. Sank is at Lumberjack, and we've already found the Silver's key. But now I lost my train of thought. Oops. I can't do the big chest here. No big key.
Also, people can bag on Vanilla Ganon all they want. As a runner, it's my absolute favorite thing to have in there.
No brain, just do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the more I can just kind of say, hey, I have to do this thing. I don't have to make the decision. I don't leave a decision point where someone could gamble and take a win over me by cutting a bunch of stuff that I did, the happier I am.
That makes sense.
And it works the exact same way for Lumberjack as well. Like, I am really happy when Ganon is in either of those 2 spots, because it takes away one of the, like, largest gambles / logic reads you need in the entire game.
We did find the 3rd Mire Small in the pod maze, itself behind 6 pod keys, and logically a little bit helpful for Meyer, I guess. Practically not the best. That's completely useless for Illus.
No, I mean, maybe it pushes them back towards Meyer, but I would say that's probably unlikely, and they're likely to just try to greed out and wait for the cane if they can.
That a checkerboard entrance also completely useless. That quake is quite convenient though for Illus. Gonna be able to check the fire entrance and just get this whole area done with for now. We'll need to return eventually to finish pod for that crystal.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, the options on the table right now, the climb, which I think we've talked about, and I think it probably makes sense to do no matter what, because you have the equipment, you have Eastern to finish up, you have checks and Meyer, and...
Finishing Desert, though that's currently out of logic without the small key. There's the dam.
I think it's one of those things where, like, if you are near the back of Desert, you do it, but at this point you aren't going to go out of your way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
No, the back is at Light World Shopping Mall, so not very convenient.
Yeah, like if I had a flute at this point, I mean, I guess Illus does have a flute, so it's like, but if I'm over there for some other reason, it's one thing. And in fact, with that flute, it's actually a lot better to be able to route in and do that. Like normally, it's terrible to get to Light World Shop or to Ice Rock Cave area. But we'll see. It kind of makes an interesting decision point because there's a couple of different philosophies you'll see from people playing Crosskeys, and some of them is just like, hey, if you have dungeons that you can do, you have to... Excellent connector. Just lovely.
Nice game.
So if I'm Illus, I'm actually probably going to be heading to do Desert Palace before I make that Graveyard Ledge play. Just because it's so nice. Illus, it seems, is not spying on our commentary, or doesn't care much for my decision making.
yeah, both I've been seeing Medallion. That comedy aside, that does confirm that I don't think there was a single connector in the Meyer area on the Dark World side, so I think you had to find the flute to get there, which is a nice game. Thanks. The dam.
I mean, that's usually what I expect.
Yeah, the dam does also give us the first chest of swamp.
It does. I mean, it's
we don't have a swamp,
on.
We don't have a
it's a weight on the
that.
things you have to do and things that you don't necessarily have to do. So,
yeah.
To me, first chest of swamp is very, very unappealing, especially compared to Desert Palace here. Although a little less so for Furious Magic because he has to walk over to Desert Palace. Although I guess he doesn't know what's here. He's about to find out, and so now he's just going to beat the dungeon.
No reason not to.
But both Illus and Furious Magic know, like, you have to do this dungeon. There's no beating the seed without it. Whereas Swamp Palace, there's no guarantee that you're going to have to do it. And when you come back later, you can get more items. So if you defer it, you can make it more efficient. Like, the only thing you can do to make more efficient in Desert is, like, have the boots or have better equipment going in. And even now, like, you can still get the one cycle on Landmo here.
Speaking of the boots, by the way, there they are, the Layer Big Chest.
And yeah, I can feel the spirit of Goomba like screaming in rage right now at Illus for not just doing the quick flute to 7 when he could to check the item. Like if Kane's there, he's gonna feel really dumb.
Oh yeah, this underwater item.
Yep.
It's one check, but it's fairly quick with the flute, and if that's something, you will feel silly.
Yeah, it's literally about as fast of a check as exists in the game.
Yeah.
Is the entire selling point for it.
Oh hey, pod big in the on Landmos. That's nice for Furious Magic.
It is, although he doesn't have the flute.
No, because the flute is in the Desert Big Chest, which he hasn't gone back to.
Oh yeah, very high value Desert Big Key though, I will say.
Yeah.
Extremely.
I don't know if we've actually seen where Spec Rock Lower lets out, if I'm not mistaken.
Dark World Bumper Ledge? No. Tempered Sword is a nice find here in Cutscene Chest. This entrance is new for
there's
Furious Magic.
no real way you're skipping this stuff for Illus.
No. Light World Bumper Ledge was new. Illus did not have a mirror when he found this connector. Just the archery game though, so no worries on that.
I mean, it is a little bit of a win for Furious Magic because Illus.
Also, Illus, where are you going?
Mr. 24?
I think he knows.
Senor 24, por favor.
Illus enjoying these sights and sounds of the Misery Mire. I get there. We've all been to Florida.
In case anyone's actually confused, he completely forgot you actually need a cane to finish this place, and no, you don't have it. Want to use blue cane? Well, this will be Furious Magic fighting GT.
With the GT Big Key as well, so I expect we're going to see both runners climbing at a very, very similar time here.
Yep, because Illus is right there. Actually going to be a bit ahead since Furious Magic hasn't found this place yet, so it has done Hope Room and Torch.
And he also has boots, which are a pretty big time save in the climb. Especially, like, it's not just that they're a big time save in the climb, it's like, this is the part of the game that most runners are most used to having the boots in. Because not just NMG, but a huge, overwhelming set of normal modes you're likely to have that. And so, I know I do, and I'm sure plenty of other people definitely just, like, I just lose time not having boots in GT, because I'm just used to having boots in GT.
Yeah. So, 4 checks up here, this will also unlock Ganon for the end of the game. We'll see if anything's up here.
Definitely, in my opinion, the most compelling reason to do this right now.
Wilburner's having a little aiming problems on these mimics today.
That's why you got 30 arrows.
I think I would just love this right now because this gives me a fair bit of time to sort of evaluate what I have left, which honestly we're sort of, again, like we talked about, getting to the dregs of things. We do have Ice Palace, which we have absolutely nothing for. Eastern, as we've talked about.
Eastern Ice, First Chest of Swamp.
Thieves Town as well.
Thieves, Battle Logic Finishing Pod.
Yeah, and especially like on Illus's side, where so much of this is just going to be muscle memory from how you play this in every seed, you're basically just spending your time here planning out effectively the rest of the route that you have open right now. Or you should be, because it's pretty rare that you get long stretches of time to do this, and he definitely has a long one right now.
Yep, very
as
nice.
does Furious.
Yep. Now it's a very nice one-cycle fire rod for Illus there on the landmost fight. Nice to see. Is hammer needed? Yes, in a word. We absolutely 100% need a hammer to finish. Well, actually, we can't finish pod. Never mind. We can't check the pod big chest out logic. We can't finish it. We don't have a hammer for that. And Ice Palace is also a pretty darn dreadful play without the hammer because you need it for that too. Hammer also locks left side GT and assorted overworld things, including Mimic Cape, which we saw earlier. But you do need it to finish 2 dungeons.
Finally, we're going to get to the meat of the climb. Your little brain AFK check break is over here, bud.
Yep.
I do actually just want to point out, though, and not even for just a lack of execution or differences, but really just what the boots have done for the time difference in the climb as well.
Sure, as we find a heart container, and there's bombos. Okay, game. The climb.
Yeah, Illus is definitely setting up right now to just be kind of in better shape right now. He's gotten lots of efficiency wins, and he continues to get efficiency wins.
Well, at this point, what are we missing for Go mode? We need a hammer, we need a cane.
We need a turtle rock. Oh no, we don't need a turtle rock big key. Hammer, cane. Looks like that's it.
That's what I think, yeah, hammer and cane. Or even pretty much logical as well. Just those two items. Cane doesn't lock as much, but hammer I'd expect will eventually turn up. It also doesn't lock as much as it usually does in Crosskeys.
Really good Go mode items. That being said, Illus still needs to find the pod big, but I would be surprised if he doesn't find it very quickly here.
It's literally required for him to do the check that gives him pod big, so he's fine.
Yeah, it's the exact same philosophy around doing the things you have to do. And especially now that Illus has no way to make Desert Palace faster for himself, other than a random teleport to Desert Palace, which does not exist in the game.
Yeah. I think it was 3201 for Illus, Agatu being a smidge trolly.
I would say I try not to count Agatu patterns. I'm depressed enough about life as it is. Nobody wants to see that from me. But it does actually set a pretty clear agenda, I think, for Illus moving forward, is that, hey, you need to go beat your dungeons.
Yeah.
And Desert is probably my first stop here, if I'm him.
Yeah.
It does not look like it's going to be his first stop.
He hasn't checked the pod, and I don't think he's checked the
This is Eastern Palace, I think.
Yes, Dark Fleet 5 is where that is. That's where it's going. May as well.
Which is, I don't mind this play at all.
Nope.
Like, if the hammer's in Eastern Palace and you don't go now, you feel real dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I think process of elimination we have maybe 2 spots where Laser Bridge could be. If I'm not mistaken, it's either GT or Bonkrox by Link's house, if I've not been... Or I guess Ice Palace as well.
GT, Bonkrox by Link's house, Ice Palace... Back of Skull Woods.
True, forgot about Back of Skull Woods. But more just thinking of items, not necessarily of ways to kill bosses.
I'll say, have we found both, since that's not on the note sheet, have we found Pyramid Fairy or Waterfall Fairy yet?
I believe
Found
we found
Waterfall Fairy, haven't found Pyramid Fairy, I think. And apparently, right, from one of our trackers, that we apparently did see the Ice Palace entrance from Furious Magic. I totally forgot what it was, so probably not helpful.
I know we saw one of either Pyramid or Waterfall Fairy in CAC super early. We may have actually seen them.
So there's not a ton of value in entrances right now, which would be driving me to complete dungeons instead.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to find any more entrances if you're Illus, or Furious Magic at this point. You don't necessarily... Like, Furious Magic... Oh no, Furious Magic needs to find pods still, so he still has reason to check entrances. but really the only value that you have is one of the 2-item fairies. I guess I can't tell in the note sheet if the like 2-item caves like Cutscene or Mire Shed or stuff were also checked.
We did find
Mire
Mire Shed.
Oops. And Illus is gonna have a little bit of trouble with quick kill here, but is just gonna adjust and take the slightly slower version.
Yeah,
Fired
and that
6
was
arrows to the right instead of 5.
Yeah, listen, I'm a smidge lazy with some of the nodes, just the most major ones.
You don't need to be apologetic about it. I was trying to sort of understand exactly what the value of entrances are, and other than a 2-item, it looks like a single 2-item cave and Turtle Rock is basically what's in play.
Pretty much. You've seen most of our other significant entrances we'd like to see at this point.
Go to 7, Illus, go to 7.
Nope. If that underwater Magnus Hamburger cave, he's gonna feel real silly.
I mean, he should, because it's...
Or the shovel, which I don't think we've...
Oh yeah, we never checked the shovel.
Let me send a quick message to Goomba to make sure his blood pressure hasn't killed him. I nearly hospitalized Goomba in a match that he was watching of mine, where I did a GT climb over checking the dam, and it had my Goomba behind him. And he wanted to cry.
Oh dear. Chatting, look, Illus is looking to check shovel. He checks race game left in K45. 2 other things he's orphaned for a while.
Yeah, and I mean, for him, it's just kind of a matter of how much does he value cleaning up these orphans, and honestly, there's not a lot of value to him cleaning up these orphans. Like, I'm certainly, if I'm in Illus's shoes... Well, I guess we don't really have a lot of doable dungeons at this point. Like, it's pod big. Like at this point now, those sort of 4-item cave and laser bridge is starting to look a little bit more juicy.
Yes.
And especially as you've cleared off most of the entrances that you haven't found become a little bit more valuable because you have a higher understanding of what they're likely to be. And of course, Thieves Town's still sitting there. I don't think Thieves Town is a bad play right now at all.
No, it's the items in the back and also the green pendant.
I was saying, this is what I was talking about earlier about even though Light World Bumper Cave ends up not being a thing, it's still going to be an advantage for Furious that he was able to do it, because Illus is going to come back here and check eventually when he finds things.
And Furious finally finding that flute is going to go activate it eventually. Go check the shovel first. And shovel is just a compass.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed.
Same. I was really hoping at both of those.
There's sometimes you feel like you karmically deserve to be punished.
Oh yeah, sadly Underwater item also done it.
I was hoping for the back-to-back.
We never checked this.
So
we saw this earlier.
An extra 2-item cave. Then
we saw this earlier from Furious Magic. As you can tell, $320. Not the most useful.
But I think this is going to be Ice Palace as well. And then we'll likely see either a save and quit or a flute to a new terminal point for Illus.
And if Furious is going to check out the pod area now, we'll be able to get this pod big chest on his first trip through. I wonder if that's going to have... We don't know where that last pod small is, so I will laugh if there's something in that big chest.
It's not unlikely, but it's also not overly likely right now, but it would be a very, very nice in for Furious Magic.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Illus doesn't have a ton of stuff left in play right now, so if it's just being funneled there, he'll be there sooner rather than later, although this is...
Not it. He never actually backtracked through TR for any of these accessible checks, so this is all new for him. Furious Magic did this. I don't remember any of it. So I don't think Illus is gonna find much in here. No cane, so can't do. So he's gonna be limited as to what he can do in here.
So, small routing optimization here that Furious Magic is doing either consciously or unconsciously, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say consciously. Again, this is one of those things where you're not going to speed up what you're doing at the back. Like, you have 4 keys, you have the big key. You're just going to check this stuff, hammer jump, check that, and then mirror. If there's a small key back here, if there's a hammer back here, all of a sudden you're putting yourself in a position where you can go straight from the right side to either straight from the right side to Helmasaur King if you find the hammer here, or if you find a small key here, then you can go grab the big key chest as well, when previously you were unsure if you were going to be able to do this. So this is a good sort of way of like the way you route dungeons kind of gets adapted based on your situation very, very heavily in Crosskeys. Illus is just going to take the really bad feeling Ice Palace dive. Not a bad play by any means. Like in terms of raw item counts, I think this is the highest raw item count play he has.
It is. Unless
him...
Laser Bridge is available someplace, this is the densest play.
I mean, this gives you 4 items too. Yeah, this gives you 4 items if you're Illus too. Although in a little bit of a jank way.
Yeah.
Because of key counts.
Oh, there's last bottle, and he's safe reading.
That I don't understand.
I don't either. If you're going to go all this way and then just leave it?
I don't mind making the Ice Palace play here, but I'm definitely not a fan of just bailing. It's not like he's going to anything like Speedrun. Like he's just going, okay, here's 1 item in Swamp Palace, here's a couple of orphan entrances.
Big key to Skullwoods is 1 new check, thanks to the fetch quest. He's kind of vaguely in the area and could check the Skullwoods back entrance, I guess, but yeah, I'm not sure why Illus just out of ice there.
I suspect this is Illus, and this is something I'm guilty of, so I can't really criticize that heavily of it. Is probably getting a little bit too cute in his routing and saying like, hey, like, I do have some stuff out here, I'm going to try to greed a little bit and try to find the happy compromise. I don't think this is the right way to weigh it, but I would be lying if I said I don't do things like that sometimes, so I can't really criticize over much. I think this is going to be the Skull Woods play. I'm actually a little surprised. I would have made the Thieves Town play before this.
Thieves Town at least isn't too far. It's in the Smiths.
Well, I mean that's why is that it's so easy to get to that I am actually just going to take the time to do it here. I don't think that's the one you wanted, Illus.
No. Still wasn't hoping for Laser Bridge. That's a possibility, Tafile. We have, because the Skullwood's back entrance is moving for you, we haven't seen.
And I don't think Illus didn't have the Skullwoods big. I don't remember if
Skullwood's Big just showed
Nope.
up. That's a cane.
That's one piece of the puzzle.
Well, he's definitely going to go to Meyer, I'd suspect, soon, and with that, finish it
Yep.
off.
Hammer go.
And, here is Small Key to Ice Palace, not any much value, I guess. And some...
Actually, so a small key to Ice Palace is really, really nice here. Both for conventional routing and for unconventional routing. So since he has the cane now, if you wanted to go into ice, like if the hammer ends up being an Ice Palace and he has the ability to Icebreaker, that key means that you can just route the dungeon sort of very normally in Icebreaker. Otherwise, you would have to go down to the conveyor maze and steal the key, mirror out, and then go back through.
Right.
So there actually is a decent amount of value in it. And as long as you're not in go mode, having that key helps route regular Ice Palace as well, because you can go straight to the right side instead of having to like loop around or anything like that. So it is actually a really, really nice find.
Never mind. Ignore me then. Yeah. I don't tend to play much Crosskeys myself. Is gonna first do my play, which is as expected. No surprises here.
Nope. This falls once again into do what you gotta do.
Yep. Reminds me that Furious Magic needs to probably wants to find the boots out of this big chest eventually here.
Yeah, unfortunately for Furious Magic, it feels like he's well behind the 8-ball at this point. Even if he found Hammer in here, Hammer is going to be Illus's go mode, and so he has to go into Swamp to get the Skullwood's big key. But unless the Swamp Small shows up, that's not going to be a play. That's all that enticing.
Mm-hmm. And if he does find a Swamp Small, that's going to send him deeper in there.
And then if he does find the Swamp Small, he's not going to bail out on Swamp Palace to be like, I'm going to go check that Skullwood's big chest right now. This is a rough setup for him if the hammer isn't cane locked. And if the hammer is cane locked, then he's just kind of behind. Which is also not really the place you want to be.
No.
Little known fact, in races it is generally better to be ahead than behind.
Thank you for that insight.
Yeah, let me put that on my fridge real quick. Alright, that's good for another day.
Thank you for the insight.
You can find this and other great pearls of wisdom on my Nugget of Wisdom a Day calendar, now on sale on Amazon for negative 99 cents. That's right, they pay you $1 to take it off of their inventory.
Vinny giving us a small key to Hera, which opens up the Hera basement.
Toffle, that's on June 13th. I don't give away the free one. I don't give away extra ones for free.
I suspect with this too, Illus is going to combo this with right side GT now.
Might make sense at this point. There's
I'll say right side
three
GT.
of our 4 GT keys. Cane, Fire Rod. You guys know key logic better than I do.
I mean, key logic matters more here in one item for go mode than it would normally, because it's so likely that some of these things are hammer locked.
Mm-hmm.
Compass Room is locked by a big key. Compass Room is locked by an additional small key. And so if that's hammer locked, then the hammer can't be there. But this and everything in the basement after Compass Room is only locked by 3 keys. So logically, this play is perfectly coherent.
And Fierce Magic has in fact just gotten this big key to Skullwoods. That's good.
Good for Furious Magic. Unfortunately, he's still just kind of behind the 8-ball at this point.
He is down some dungeons. Yeah, down some dungeons later to getting Kane. Compass jet room, 10 arrows, some bombs, the book,
Oh, baby.
and the smoky dice.
So, I actually put very little stock in that book for the exact same reason that I wasn't all that sold on Compass Room right there. And obviously you're going to do it as you go through. It's not like you're going to skip the checks. But I would say there's a very, very good chance that one of the last GT key is hammerlocked, given how little you have left in the game that isn't hammerlocked. That being said, if you find the 4th GT key in the basement here, that turns on its head, and all of a sudden that book is, hey, maybe I should check Bombos or Ether Tablet. Ether Tablet in particular is actually not that bad for Illus to check, because you can flute straight to the mire area and go through the connector in mire, do the front of Turtle Rock, and then run straight to Ether Tablet from there. I was saying, yeah,
about the big chest.
Furious is going straight to mire, which makes sense. I mean, it's a better density play than it would be to do it to do the Skullwoods big, but unfortunately that is where the cane is.
Yep, that's our 3rd TR small. Okay. TR is an option with Arcane.
Yep. I was saying, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like that, it's not just an option. It's after this probably the best option that is left.
I think so. Yeah.
It's either that or you try to find Laser Bridge, are basically your 2 choices. And if you happen to run into the Turtle Rock Big Key, it's just as good as having found Laser Bridge anyway.
Big Key Dice in the last TR small were nice armos.
Curious if this is going to send Illus back to ice.
Boot 3.
This is not an Ice Palace play then.
Is this Steve's Town?
Play.
Yeah, this is Steve's.
Seems actually kind of strangely timed to me, because I would be trying to leverage the cane that I had still, and so I would have done the Turtle Rock checks first.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, there's literally no cost to orphaning the Thieves' Town Big Chest now. It can't be the only item Illus cares about.
Yep, considering you hard need a hammer to get the Thieves' Town Big Chest, it can't be the hammer. Otherwise, we would have a problem.
It's kind of an unfortunate way to get back to TR right, though, to check that big chest. Or to get over that way to get to Laser Bridge, the most expedient way, I think, right?
Yeah, left side is just north of Lake Hylia, which is fine. Right side, Big Chest is the pod entrance, which is, well, Illus has I don't even remember, which is not so convenient.
I don't hate traversing Turtle Rock in the forward direction if you get the Turtle Rock Big Key. Like, if you find the Turtle Rock Big Key here, I'm very inclined to just go completely from the front.
Can hammer be on pads? No.
Swamp Palace requires the hammer?
Yep. Various Magic's gonna get Kane here finally.
Yes, Jacob, we are in hammer go mode here. So Illus definitely has the deck stacked in his advantage right now. But it does look like it's going to turn into whoever finds the hammer first. I suspect Furious is going to go straight back to Mire and kill Vitreous. And so Illus is going to gain a little bit of time on him.
That is a shroom. That is a new check.
It is. Do we know where the potion?
Yes, it is the
Lost
north.
Woods.
Yeah, North Lost Woods.
Ellis has been to ice. He did the Pengator room, got his 3rd bottle and fourth bottle actually and bailed. So we know from Furious Magic, who did all of as much as he could, that he Illus didn't miss anything other than so far that we've seen, but Ice Palace Big Chest does exist and is a thing. Because the Ice Palace Big Key is on Ice Armor, so neither of them went to Ice Palace with the Ice Palace Big Key.
I would say Ice Palace Big Key is probably a winning spot for Illus because he's more likely to go back there faster than Furious does. However, Furious gonna have to be a little bit careful here to not take a death. Okay, so Illus is gonna go straight ahead and turn in this mushroom. I guess the saving quit works. The other option would be to flute to 8 and jump in the whirlpool there, but I think this is slightly faster. Illus also has the ability to pick up potions if he feels like he needs them. I don't know why he would feel like he needs potions at this gear level, but it's understandable.
I'm curious sort of what the runners are thinking, and I know I've kind of posed this question to you once or twice before, Allison, the sort of like the what do you think at this point, but 2 hours with Hammer Go mode, Illus having had Mitts and Mirror from an early point, does it start to feel kind of weird that you've, one, not found the hammer, or two, that like, I guess the other thing, that luckily you look at the race room and you don't see that your opponent has won? How are you sort of evaluating this kind of race standpoint? Or is there a good way to do so with sort of a seed like this?
If I am Illus, I feel very good at the point where I find the cane. If I don't find the cane, or like, the longer this goes on, the worse I'm going to feel, because I already know that literally nothing is hammer locked.
Right.
I do think this is... This is probably faster to these chests, but it's slower to these chests plus ether from Illus's perspective, which is, I mean, it's hey look.
There it
Hey,
is.
look.
But I mean, there's a very good, I mean, Furious Magic is probably going to GT first. But if he didn't, like, this could end up being a very, very close race. And much closer than it looked until not much time ago.
Well, that question was completely moot, but...
Yeah, this is Furious Magic heading to GT.
Which I think is the very understandable, very reasonable play, and unfortunately for him is just the wrong one.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess you're sort of allured by proximity, right? Because GT is right there, among other things, yeah.
Absolutely. Like, this GT is a nightmare to get to. If you don't go here now, when do you go there?
Right.
Yeah. Quite the hike. Versus TR is just sitting, left side TR is just sitting in, it's like just north of Lake Hylia, so you can just hop right on over there after a save quit.
Which, I mean, to your point too, I think you were saying a few minutes ago, now that Hammer is cane locked, you probably do definitely feel better about it. It was probably if it was in something errant like Green Pendant Tournament.
I actually disagree. I think you actually feel better about it if it's not cane locked.
Really? Could you explain that? I trust you in this. I'm
trying to find the right way to sort of explain it. This cane is in a very, very bad position. if my opponent finds the hammer, they are going to do a lot of stuff that I didn't do. And so I actually really like the concept of my opponent being able to find the hammer without the king.
That's true, yeah.
That is why I think it is better to have in
Interesting.
Drumulus' position to have the hammer not be game locked. I mean, I don't think you're gonna feel bad in any. Like, I think you're feeling fine if you're
Right.
right. I don't see any reason why you don't feel fine. But
Yes, Law, one of our trackers pointing out in chat the particular chain of items we had to do to get to that hammer is you had to get the Desert Big to get. You had to get the Desert Big from Paradox, which was fine, to get the flute out of the Desert Big chest, to get to Meyer, to drain the dam, to open Swamp, to get the Skullwood's Big Key, to get the King, to get the hammer. Not wrong there.
Honestly, my favorite part of any Crosskeys restream is watching Toffel go, this is the exact logic, and then just shaking my head because that wouldn't occur to me even until way after the game.
sorry, the musical theater dork. Me just one.
Uh-huh.
So this will be a run through Meyer, Ice for Illus, and then just over to Ganon at that point. Crosskeys' logic is quite something. We're gonna see tile room for Furious Magic. Illus did choose to skip this earlier, I think.
Which I actually think is a really aggressive skip. Personally. I don't mind doing it after this, but in fact I think you should be doing it after you do the basement, but I think this is a very aggressive skip. Furious Magic skip cutscene chest? He must have. Because he doesn't have a timer
You're
turn.
right, yeah, he did. Huh.
Where did he miss the tempered sword then? Oh, he does have it. It's just
No,
not
he
marked.
has
Okay.
it, just not
I I thought I saw the Master Sword on his sprite too. Like that was the first thing that I checked. Apparently, the second thing I need to check is my vision.
It's fine, Allison. It's easy to lose track of things. I also completely missed it. Oops.
Say down a little bit magic. Illus is going to have to bombos here, but still should be a pretty easy cold start fight for him.
Furious Magic is taking the Sparrow Cave connector back up to the mountain here.
I think this is a front of Turtle Rock play as well.
Yeah.
I think this is a
Would be good
perfectly
for
fine
him.
way to get here.
Yeah, it would be. Forgot this was the front of TR, to be honest, but makes sense.
I
Personally,
like
think
this way of getting here a lot more than going through Turtle Rock left, honestly.
Yeah, it's
I
all.
think it goes left to right first. Let's see. One item for go mode. Okay, he's just playing.
Okay, that's one way to get there. And that's good one. As Illus gets his 7th crystal.
So Furious Magic is not going to be too far behind, but it's going to be probably about, say, 6-7 minutes.
Run through Meyer, run through Pod, run through Ice. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pod is one of the longer dungeons to have to run through as your last one. Definitely
Gonna
not
do
the
Ice
one that you want.
first. Yeah. Still a fairly close race overall within 10 minutes, but I think it is a little bit late at this point for Furious Magic.
I do think that Illus's collection rate is going to be probably 4 to 5 higher. Modulo something I didn't see, which is the who skipped what visible items. But yeah, I'll be told this is gonna end up being a really close race.
Which, kind of given the disparity in mirror and mitts, it seems a lot closer than I think that would have probably put it for, given how much the Furious Magic had its double back for.
Yeah, it's definitely turned out closer than it looked about an hour-ish into the race when Furious Magic was still looking for those items. It's pulled a lot closer, I think, just because of how much searching they had to do for that hammer and cane.
Yeah, but I also think that Furious played a little more by the book in terms of the order in which he did things. Illus gets a nice phase 2 pattern here. It's going to make this one cycle here uber free. And so that is going to contribute to why I think his collection rate's going to be a little bit lower, but in this case I don't think it's more resembling... I think sometimes you can use lower collection rates as a way of sort of justifying, oh, this win might have been a fluke or this shouldn't have been this close. That is not my opinion on what happened here.
Right.
No. Idly noting that we have an almost full tracker, missing a couple loose small keys, and the powder, and that's about it. These guys did a lot of the seed. 14 hearts for Illus, 14 for Furious Magic.
It's actually a really low heart count.
Yeah, not unusual to see upwards of 15.
Oh, so I feel like usually I'm on 17 or 18.
Yeah. I mean, the game had to have put something in the rest of Swamp.
Oh, that's true.
And left side GT.
He decided to hide away all the medical care.
Apparently. Because all that stuff, because there had to be something there. It's not the major items, because we've seen almost all of them, so I guess that's where our health went. And maybe a couple loose small keys, I guess. There's not much left, but that's it for Illus here.
GG's in chat for Illus.
Illus finishing with an official racetime.gg time of 2:09:28, going up to 2-0 in Swiss now. GG's. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview, as it looks like Furious Magic is probably going to just finish out the seed since he's not far off it. Getting that Ice Palace crystal right as Illus finished.
Yeah, usually I will say if I'm in a similar situation, I will finish out if I'm in go mode. As long as the go mode isn't too bad. Or as long as I'm not really tilted.
Yeah.
Furious Magic may also not have the race room up either, depending, so...
I think it's really common for runners to just kind of, as soon as the race starts, just mute it and get on with their lives. Since it can be very easy to get distracted and be like, oh, are they done yet? Are they done yet? Are they done yet?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what anyone's talking about.
I try not to do that until the Ganon fight, so that I can make mistakes during the Ganon fight, because I'm constantly checking the other monitor.
I'm also dismally bad at checking race time whenever I race, very rarely.
I mean, I don't think it's a matter of even bad or good. I think it's perfectly understandable to not want to check race time.
Mm-hmm. It's also a matter of often, it's going to be in the background, and you probably don't want to necessarily dedicate screen space to it either, depending on your setup.
Yep, for sure.
Illus will be joining us for an interview as Furious Magic heads towards Helmasaur here.
Really kind of boiled, not just to a tale of two connectors, but that certainly set the tone for the early game, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to Furious Magic's credit, it's really difficult to come back from something like that, especially when the seed isn't, super wide open. If the go mode sequences had been reversed, if it had been a hammer into a cane, all of a sudden there's a lot of places that you can go. maybe you say, hey, I'm going to go straight to JT, but then maybe Furious Magic is like, I feel behind. I'm going to head to Mimic Cave or Swamp or what have you. Whereas with this, there's not really a lot of comeback potential, I think. And it kind of just kept getting eroded on him, too, because of the boot disadvantage, because of sword disadvantage. So really, really a good showing with all those things going against him and still being able to pull this within about I would guess, 5-minute gap? I guess you do have to travel to the pyramid, so it might be a little bit more, but
more closer to 7 to 12, 15 or so, 7th crystal, and then has to run over to.
But GG's Illus.
GG's.
GG.
So we were talking a pretty good amount at sort of the end as you were on the 2-item scavenger hunt. How do you sort of feel in a situation like that? Where you're sitting there and you're just looking for a couple of items, both that lock a lot of the seed. Do you feel good about the way that you're sitting, or are you sort of worried like, oh god, what if my opponent found these?
I was not that worried, given that the last item that I needed to find was my hammer. I knew I found some very missable things like the flute, or I guess not the cane, because the cane locked the hammer, but I think the flute was the main thing. And I figured if hammer is my go mode and Furious Magic has the hammer but not the flute, then I'm somewhat in an advantage in that regard.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially like if you end up flute for go mode in this seed. It's a really, really brutal. Although I believe you can't end up flute for go mode in this seed. Oh, that's not true. No, it is true. You cannot end up flute for go mode in the seed because you need the flute to get. If I can scroll up and read what Awful put for the logic, you needed the Desert Palace Big Key to get the flute, so you could go to Mire to drain the dam, so you could get the Skullwoods Big Key from the first chest.
True. Yeah. You needed. You needed Mire. You needed Mire access to get into the first chest of Swamp Palace. That's true. So it couldn't have been flute for go mode.
Shout out to that Quake location, by the way, in pod. That was convenient.
The classic doormat.
Yep. A little bit more complicated than usual since you had to go to it in the deep back into pod, but classic. Yeah,
a lot of this early game was sort of dictated. You took the desert connector to Desert Mid, which puts you on the East Death Mountain, where unfortunately Furious Magic followed Hyrule Castle and didn't get back there for quite some time. And actually, the first time he was on the mountain was saving the old man from, I think, Hylia Island. So it was kind of a weird, like, chain of events that kind of put him a fair bit behind you. So
yeah,
I also figured that if I got lucky basically with my early game, and I had, the mids very, very early, then I might also have a bit of an advantage just by mostly luck, I guess.
Yeah, and
but I can't like say that, oh yeah, I got lucky, now I'm ahead. That's not how it works.
No, definitely not. And I think more than anything else, it's really that early game that kind of bent the seed, because this is going to end up being about a 6-minute difference between the two of you.
Furious Magic
is finishing up a relatively clean and quick Ganon fight here. And we'll see if we can get him in as well, but I think it's one of those sort of positions where like he just wasn't able to make up the ground, and honestly, the efficiency losses for him kept stacking up more than anything else. Because he was very, very late to Mire, so he didn't have the boots. He was, as you surmised, he was very, very late to the flute as well. And so he did things like he had to run off to desert while waiting, whereas you just got to gallivant around with your flute all over the world.
Yeah.
With your jet-setting lifestyle.
I figured the flute might have been a bit of an advantage, and the mids as well, but only potentially.
But we do have Furious Magic joining us. GG's.
GG's.
That seed didn't go well at all. The gloves were meh. I suppose I could have gotten there sooner if I followed a better connector, but the Miro is really what was awful. I was originally planning to start at Mini-Modem Cave and then go left towards deserts. But then all that money, maybe think Zora area instead, and then that threw me off of the mirror for a very long time.
We were just talking about that with Illus. So there was a point early in the seed where you chose to take the Hyrule Castle connectors. Furious Magic and Illus took the desert connectors, which got them up to the mountain much earlier.
Ah.
Yeah, and I think all things being told, you probably closed a little bit stronger than Illus, even though you had a pretty large efficiency disadvantage for most of the seed, because you were behind to the mirror by a lot, you were behind to the boots by a decent amount, you were behind to the flute by probably about as much as anything. But Illus also didn't go straight to the front of Turtle Rock afterwards too. Like he beat Meyer.
I must confess, I have not marked Turtle Rock front on my map.
Well, that does explain the mystery of the path you took to Turtle Rock front.
Where was it again? It was Hookshot Cave. Although, truth be told, it was Fierce Magic. You did Spiral Cave, which was at the Pod Area Ferry.
I went through that connector 3 times this seed.
Yes, you did.
That was at least I had beats for the last time, but no, yeah. I mean at that point in the endgame, it was the path was pretty linear for me, so.
Yeah, I would say Illus did take a branching path to go check out Turtle Rock, or to go check out Thieves Town after the cane, which could have been one of your ways to kind of climb back into this time-wise.
Yeah.
You were just kind of too far behind from the early stuff, I think, to be able to really have a chance to close the seed back into your favor.
No, yeah. When I found the fire rod off of Purple Chest, I'm like, okay, this is something Illus might not get for a while. I should just take it straight to Ice Palace and just yellow that. Hope I can pull something good out of that. You could see me trying to consider it several times during the seed, and eventually I did go there. It's just I went there too early, and then I should have followed the dam sooner. I was really also thinking maybe there's a chance you'd forget about the Desert Palace Big. So I thought I should follow the dam. It's only one chest, but at that point I knew I was down. So
y'all ended up in a really, I think, tough spot though, because I think it was the climb into a bunch of one-offs, and admittedly I think Illus had boots, he had gone to Meyer Big, but you kind of got not totally bottlenecked, but you had a pick of the litter of really not great choices too around that point as well.
No, yeah, I mean there was always Thieves Town on the table. I did not want to go there at all. I just assumed if something important was there, I would last occasion and lose by a lot. That didn't happen, so that's good at least. But no, yeah, after Eastern Palace, it was just a lot of bad checks. So that happened.
I'll say, and unlike Illus, who had the mirror significantly earlier, Illus knew where GT was, whereas I think you were still searching for GT at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I stumbled across it. Still didn't have the hammer or the cane, so couldn't do much with it once I did find it. But I did go in there with the GT big key, so
yeah, that was nice for you. Whereas Illus did have to sort of retrek there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Graveyard Lodge quite a few times.
Let's say 3 by my count.
Yeah, I think it was 3 times.
Yeah, one's for just Hope Room Torch, one's for the climb, one's for right side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately just kind of felt like a Tale of Two Connectors, other than that it was a big scavenger hunt for 2 items that obviously do a lot.
Yeah, having missing the hammer and the cane in the late game was something. It got pretty ugly, but...
Yeah, you got bottlenecked into this weird chain of checking the first chest of Swamp into Skywood's big chest into Kane and all that silly stuff, really.
Yeah, I think all I had when I had checked Swamp Palace was I had Thieves Town, Meyer, and then the Skullwood's entrance. That was it. And then after I got the big key out of there, I'm like, the Skullwood's big. I'm like, okay, I can kind of win Meyer with Skullwood's in, and then yeah, that happened.
And
Racing Golden Course.
unfortunately, you chose Meyer into Skullwoods, not Skullwoods into Meyer, so you got to make the second trip.
Yeah,
over there as well.
yeah, it wouldn't have changed anything, but yeah.
No, I mean, I still don't think that's enough to close the gap, but it certainly didn't. And I have to assume it didn't feel great.
Oh no, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I did Meyer, and here's the game.
I'm like, oh man, I really should have chased that Skullwoods big down, but what can you do?
So yeah, I'm looking at the rest of this. Illus moves to 2-0. Furious Magic drops to 1-1, a place that I know very much about right now. Yeah, so I mean, both runners obviously still very well and easily alive in Swiss. One of the nice things is you don't just like die after a single round or loss, and so you have a lot more time to make up some of the stuff. Do you guys have any sort of closing thoughts on the seeds or things that you sort of wanted to get off your chest that we didn't give you a chance to do?
I hope my weird movement here and there was a source of amusement for you guys.
I was gonna ask, did you get the controller fixed, or was this...
I fixed it, but I think the rubbers have to get into the thing properly, so I have to play a bit until it's like, until it's playing nicely, but yeah, falling down 4 times in Hookshot Cave was not on purpose.
Okay. I
would like to apologize for my Cold Star fight. That did not go as planned at all. I should have just used Bombus. And I'm sorry you all had to see that.
I promise you I have done more embarrassing things on Restream. 100% promise you.
No, yeah, I mean, overall, that was a seed. Congrats to Illus, of course, on winning and advancing to 2-0. And I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Same to you, Furious. Was a nice match, and yeah, I wish you the best of luck for sure.
Well, great. iBot, do we have anything coming up on ZSR that we want to give a shout out to before we kind of cut the stream?
We do indeed. We do hope to feature Link to the Past No Major Glitches League match later tonight at 10 PM Eastern. And then there's more stuff coming up throughout the week, including but not limited to Z2R tournament matches, the more matches of this tournament, some Majora's Mask randomizer stuff. So yeah, do keep an eye on the schedule for all of that, if any of that interests you. I do want to quickly thank our trackers, Toffley and Daruk, who... This was their 3rd match today to track, so shoutouts to them. And of course also our commentators.
Dark's been a machine this tournament. He's felt like he's tracked every single match.
Yeah. So huge thanks to them. And of course also to our runners. We're going to be raiding over to Soski, who's doing another cast of a tournament match of this tournament on their channel, so just stick around for that if you want more Crosskeys actions. And I hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, thank you, everybody.